I think Andy Burnham has still got his sights on being Prime Minister.
I'm not a fan of him either, actually. I think he's way too smug for his own good. You'll notice Starmer doesn't really get pictured with that many people. he's uh, he's very, very on his own, I think.
It wouldn't surprise me if he tried to buy Andy Burnham with something similar, but I don't think Andy Burnham wants a knighthood. I think Andy Burnham has still got his sights on being Prime Minister. Andy Burnham, even though I disagree with many of his policies, he's not mental like Sadiq Khan is. He's keeping a lot of his powder dry because I think he thinks he's got one more big push to be Labour leader and to be Prime Minister. So I don't think Keir Starmer can buy him at the moment.
Well, remember Andy Burnham lost out to Corbyn, didn't he, in the leadership contest? And in hindsight, of course, Andy Burnham would have been the far better choice. In fact, it's not even hindsight. All you have to do is look at the two people side by side at the time, and Andy Burnham was the better choice. And actually, Andy Burnham would have a shot at winning the general election. Because I'm not a fan of him either. Actually, I think he's way too smug for his own good. But he um, he comes across as credible. He speaks better than most of the people you hear, certainly in the Labour Party anyway. And he would be a threat, definitely, to Starmer. I mean, if Starmer started giving peerages out to anybody that was more popular than him, there'd be nobody left in the Commons, would there? He's the most unpopular guy you can possibly think of. And to try and get rid of all your rivals like that, I mean, surprisingly, she'd never win a general election, but his biggest problem is Rayner. You'll notice she's never around him. She stays away as much as she possibly can. She even went on a world tour recently and met the Pope and stuff. God only knows why. But she's just keeping out of the way like a lot of them are. And you'll notice Starmer doesn't really get pictured with that many people. he's uh he's very, very on his own, I think. And if you speak to Labour MPs, a lot of them will tell you they've not exactly turned on Starmer yet, but they don't believe he wants to be prime minister. They don't believe that he's enjoying the job. But the problem is now, when you're in that job, if you were to quit after just a few months or even a year, you look ridiculous. So he can't do it, and they're all bothered. And I know you're right; they all want to climb the greasy pole. But something else they're also very, very bothered about is, of course, their legacy. They want to be remembered fondly by people, even if that's a pretty impossible task in Starmer's case.
Yeah, because all career politicians, part of them, or nearly all of them, are narcissists as well. So they want to be desired, they want to be approved of, they want to go down in history with a legacy, and they want to be written about in the history books 100 years from now. So they're all thinking about that. And those politicians you mentioned who were never seen with Starmer, part of that will be they're beginning to realize that Starmer, there's something about Starmer that they don't want to catch. It's his unpopularity, it's his he can't handle the media, and they don't want to be tarred with the same brush. Whatever he's got, they don't want to catch it in case it damages them in the future.
The guy can't think on his feet, can he? He's supposed to be an intelligent man. He You're right. They're avoiding him like the plague, and rightly so. If you saw that silly reset speech, which you weren't allowed to call a reset speech, apparently, the cabinet, the front bench, was sat there. The faces were so glum, and when he was speaking, you could see them all just going, like they weren't shaking their heads, obviously, but the facial expressions said it all. They did not want to be sat there pretending that they're backing this guy. How you can be so bad at communicating with the public is absolutely beyond me. And he's not helped, to be fair to him, by the advisors around him. This Morgan McSweeney guy is meant to be like, the head honcho, fantastic strategist, and all this stuff. He's the one that should be in charge of communications, getting the communications out to the public, getting a positive message out about this government. It might be a difficult task, but that's his job. I've never seen communication so bad in my life. You would think, wouldn't you, that number 10 would have the best communications team, the best PR people that money could buy. And they're just awful. How are you? I mean, look at Starmer stood up in the Commons when he was asked by Kemi Badenoch in PMQs about Louise Haig's resignation. And he called her the Justice Secretary. I'm like, does this guy even know where he is? He called Rishi Sunak Prime Minister how many times? Like 5 or 6 times. I mean, what's wrong with him? And as like you said, there's something about him they don't want to catch. He's a fundamentally bad person. He's not a good man. He's slimy. He lives well, he's a freeloader basically. He takes freebies off his mate Lord Ali, never pays for anything himself, and the public just don't like him. He's a very dislikable person, and I don't think he is this good person that he. This is half the problem, isn't it, when you try and paint yourself as whiter than white like Starmer did, and then it all comes crashing down when people realise what you're actually like. But that's the problem here. Is yes, he's surrounded by useless people like Lammy and Miliband, but he put him there. But he is the major problem. The more the public see of him, the less they like him, and the more Labour go down in the polls, and the more that the favourability ratings of the cabinet and Starmer keep declining.